How's it going, YouTube? This is FourthStarTCG, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon deck video. Today we are going over another card from Pokemon Sun and Moon, the brand new expansion. This is a little bit of a different video than the one I did before. The other video that I've done is the Lurantis GX video, and that was sort of a one where Lurantis was the star. We sort of made a completely new deck based around Lurantis. This one is a little different. We're updating a current deck and adding some new techs with Pokemon Sun and Moon. And if I can find it here, there we go. Okay, so this is what we're going to be looking at today. The main star of the video is going to be Umbreon GX. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be inserting Umbreon GX into the Turbo Dark Yveltal build that we have previously. Yveltal EX, one of the best cards in the format. Of course, a lot of decks are built to counter Yveltal. We have stuff like Vespiquen's Abstrika is built to counter Yveltal, and just now that I'm saying that, might want to fit a Karen in here somehow, just because of that deck. But I guess, well, you take down, Zebstrika takes you down, so it doesn't really matter about Karen now that I think about it. Always got to think on your toes. Think out loud. Alright, so for this deck, I figure we'll just get right into the deck profile. We're going to be running a 2-2 line of Eevee and Umbreon GX. We have Energy Evolution on Eevee, which is wonderful. When you attach a basic energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon that is the same type as the energy card and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it. So what this means is we can evolve Eevee into Umbreon GX turn 1 just by attaching an energy, which is really nice. And we play a bunch of Dark Energy, so getting that Dark Energy should not be difficult. And this is wonderful for evolving into Umbreon GX. We get to search our deck, so it's like Evolution plus Search at the same time. It's just a great ability on Eevee. Next up, we got Umbreon GX. This is going to be, hopefully I'm going to try to use Umbreon GX as much as possible as I am trying to showcase this, but Umbreon GX, Stage 1, 200 HP, and it has 3 wonderful attacks. There's really nothing wrong with this card, except maybe the retreat cost of 2 is a little high. But Strafe for a Darkness does 30 damage, and you can switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. It's not a You wouldn't think that it's a great attack. 30 damage for 1 energy is fairly standard, but if you're stuck in the active, you can switch into a powered up Yveltal, something that can really hurt your opponent. I don't really want to play Wobbuffet in this build because you don't really want to be attacking with Strafe. That really does only do 30 damage. Something like, for example, Donphan, where spinning turn, that would do a lot more damage. That's something where that makes sense, where you would build around that. But Strafe really doesn't do enough damage that we can build a deck around that attack, and switching into something like an item lock Pokemon or an ability lock Pokemon. Shadow Bullet, this is probably the main attack you're going to be using for a dark and a double colorless, does 90 damage, and it does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So this is basically Night Spear, but on a stage. It's basically, I'd call it the exact same attack. It costs you can use a double colorless with it, which is wonderful, but it is on a stage 1. So this is very good. Damage spreading is going to be a theme that you see in this deck. And the GX attack for Umbreon, of course, all GX Pokemon have a GX attack. The Dark Call GX, so we can discard 2 energy from your opponent's Pokemon. This is fairly good. It's not a game-breaking GX attack. It's not something that sounds amazing like a Solgaleo Soul Burst or let me think, any other like ridiculously amazing GX attack. Tauros's GX attack is very good. But yeah, Dark Call is it's a great tech to have. You're not going to be building around Dark Call as a GX attack, but it's going to be very useful at times. Just 2 Shaymin EX for consistency. We do have a 3 Yveltal in this list. We play 2 of the Fright Knight Yveltal. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, each Pokemon tool card in play has no effect. And Pitch Black Spear does 60 damage and 60 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon EX. Even with GXs coming into the format, there's still EXs everywhere. You got Shaymin running around, and Fright Knight's still a wonderful ability. And we play 1 copy of the Oblivion Wing Yveltal just if we need to get our energy out. We also play one copy of Yveltal Break. This is just sort of a tech card that you can use if you're going up against something like Greninja or Decidueye even, and you really want to hit their unevolved Pokemon on the bench for a lot of damage. If we hit them with Umbreon GX, we do 30 to them, and then we hit them with something like Yveltal, which does 60, and then Yveltal Break, of course, the attack Baleful Knight, 3 dark, but for 120 damage, and it does 30 to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon with any damage counters on them. So we can add damage like that. It also adds HP to any of our Yveltals, so that's a nice thing to have. It only adds 20 HP, but that can sometimes be the difference. So Yveltal Break, a 1-of in this deck, can be very useful. We play 2 copies of Yveltal EX with the attack Evil Ball, 20 plus 20, and 20 plus 20 for each energy on your opponent's active and yours as well. And Y Cyclone does 90, and you can move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So 2 very good attacks for Yveltal. Now into the trainers, we play 1 copy of Enhanced Hammer, fairly standard in a lot of decks now, running Enhanced Hammer to deal with all the decks that run Special Energy. Even we run Special Energy, so 4 copies of Max Elixir, fairly standard in any turbo build. We're going to Max Elixir onto our Yveltals. You should note that you can Max Elixir onto an Eevee, but it doesn't trigger energy evolution, so you should keep that in mind. 1 copy of Super Rod, just to bring back our Pokemon and our energy if they get discarded. 4 copies of Trainer's Mail to find everything. 4 copies of Ultra Ball. I did manage to get 1 Secret Rare Ultra Ball, so that's probably going to go in the thumbnail or something, just because I traded a lot to get that, but a beautiful card. I love the Full Art Ultra Ball. Very nice to have on TCGO. And of course 3 of the regular one, because I'm not I'm not about to go out and grab 4 of them. We got 4 VS Seeker, just fairly standard in any deck. 2 copies of Parallel City. We can shrink our opponent's bench size, or we can reduce their damage. We can bump our own Shaymins. Anything that's damaged. It's just a wonderful stadium. We play 1 copy of Delinquent in order to disrupt our opponent if they do manage to stick with a 3-card hand. Delinquent's also good because it discards a stadium card, and we do only play 2 stadiums. So if our opponent somehow gets down a very important stadium like a Rough Seas, something that can really hurt us, then we can Delinquent that away. We play 2 copies of Lysander. Lysander is very good in this deck list. You can pick out things, you can get a lot of knockouts, you can modulate damage, you can Lysander something up, and then if your opponent's got a damaged Pokemon in the active spot, you can Lysander something else out, KO it with the damage, bench damage from Shadow Bullet, or the bench damage from Pitch Black Spear, or Yveltal Break, just anything there. 2 copies of Lysander, wonderful in this deck list. We are playing 2 copies of N. I've seen a lot of deck lists are only playing 2 N now that Professor Kukui is out, and sort of 1 N has been replaced by Professor Kukui, which is a wonderful card. Draw 2 cards, and during this turn your opponent's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This really techs in well with this deck, because Shadow Bullet hits 90, plus 20, that's 110. Yveltal Y Cyclone, even without Fighting Fury Belt, if you don't have a Fighting Fury build on it, you hit 110 with Professor Kukui, and that knocks out Shaymin. So you can Lysander Shaymin, and with a Kukui, or you can't Lysander it, but you can KO a Shaymin with 1 attack from this deck, which is very nice with a Kukui, and you also draw some additional cards. So that's really not a bad card at all. I see a lot of decks playing at least 1 of Professor Kukui. 4 copies of Sycamore, very standard now for any deck. We play 1 copy of Assault Vest. This is pretty much because our Umbreon GXs, we can't attach Fighting Fury Belts to them, and their retreat cost is really only 2, so it's not something like it's a retreat cost of 3 where we're going to need to commit a lot of energy to it. So we'll play Assault Vest. That's just a tool to throw down on our Umbreon. And 2 Fighting Fury Belts for our Yveltals. Normally you don't really want to put Fighting Fury Belts on this because Yveltal Break will nullify the Fighting Fury Belt, and the regular Yveltal has Fright Knight, which means that tool cards have no effect. We play 2 copies of Floatstone. I believe it's 2 copies, yes. 4 DCEs and 9 Darkness Energy. So a fairly standard, just regular regular Turbo Dark build. The only updates we've made are we've added Umbreon GX, Professor Kukui, and some nice fancy secret rare Ultra Ball. So we'll get a match here. Looks like we're going up against Volcanion, which can be an issue for this deck because we don't play Hex Maniac. Not really a lot of space. I suppose if you're seeing a lot of Volcanion, you could cut out the Assault Vest for a for something like that Hex. I think when you're playing Umbreon, it's going to be difficult to play Garbodor. You could play one. Suppose you could play one copy of. Oh, what was I saying? I completely forgot what I was saying. I suppose you. What was it? Yeah, there we go. Okay, you could play a 1/1 line of Garbodor, but then that's just difficult to get out. I think with all the evolution, with adding another evolution line, it's going to be difficult to play Garbodor in this list. You could probably make it work, but we did have to make some sacrifice. We aren't playing Darkrai EX, which can be fairly helpful. But we do have the Parallel City, which is very good versus Volcanion because you can choose if you want to either lower their damage or drop their bench. And dropping the bench can sometimes be very useful versus Volcanion. Sometimes they'll play the Skyfield build and try to swarm like 4 Volcanion and then a bunch of baby Volcanion. Our only draw supporter is Professor Kukui in our hand right now, so that is slightly annoying. But my opponent's just hitting all those max elixirs. 3 energy on the field turn 1. We're going to VS for Sycamore and play it. So we'll see everything that my opponent is able to do on turn 1. A fairly good turn for my opponent. They've got all their Volcanion set up. Throwing down Float Stones. And it's my turn. Okay, so I think our best bet is to Kukui before we do anything, just so that we know. Okay, so there's a Trainer Mail. An Ultra Ball would be wonderful here. Unfortunately, we only grab the Sycamore. We'll throw down an energy. We'll throw down a Float Stone. We will Parallel City ourself. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. We can just Oblivion Wing, which won't do anything. We could get Donked here if my opponent, but we just... There's nothing we could do there. We've lowered my opponent's damage output, but... Yeah. So we hit him for 50 there. He's got 80 left. An Eevee would be wonderful here because we could Eevee, Energy Evolution, into an Umbreon GX. My opponent, their Energy Retrieval, I could Delinquent them if I pull like a Shaman off the top deck. But he could just kill us right here. With what is he's adding 90, 110, minus. Could have sworn he already Sycamored. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Alright. So we got the Fighting Fury Belt down on the Volcanion, and Power Heater is not going to pick up the knockout, only does 90 damage. But we do need a Pokemon, an Eevee would be wonderful off the top deck. We only grab another Sycamore. So yeah, we just have to play that here. I don't really want to commit another energy to this Yveltal. As we see here, I am going to have to lose an Enhanced Hammer and an energy. We're going to grab a Shaman here. Our bad start, we could hit a Max Elixir off of the Shaman, which would be wonderful. No Max Elixir, but we are going to be able to Oblivion Wing here and attach an energy onto our Yveltal. So lots of energy in our hand, unfortunately. And my opponent is going to hit the escape rope. I'm just thinking what I want to give up here. My Yveltal's already powered up, so I think I'll give him the Shaman and the 2 prizes. Yeah, Volcanic Heat still knocks me out. No, but he's just going to Lysander out my Yveltal anyway. Which stinks quite a bit. But now he needs a Steam Up in order to kill me. Does he not have it? Oh, that would be wonderful if he misplayed here. That would be wonderful. Ah ha ha. There we go. Nice misplay by my opponent. Missing out on the prizes. Yeah, I suppose I'm just going to have to... I'll Super Rod here. I should have Max Elixir before I Super Rodded, but I guess I am throwing another energy back in there, so it's okay. We do manage to hit this, so that could become an Yveltal break at some point. I'm going to Fighting Fury Belt our Shaman, just because we are going to have to Sycamore here. Yeah, we can't Delinquent. I hate to Sycamore all this energy away. Guess we can throw that down there. And yeah, okay. So we are getting lots of energy down. Looking better. We can Pitch Black Spear here and hit the Shaman for some damage. Now this can't attack. He does need an energy to hit one of everything else. He could also come in and just Power Heater for the knockout, which I think would probably be his best play. His Float Stone isn't active because of my Fright Knight, but he can just come in, I believe, 1 Steam Up if he has an energy that will knock me out with Power Heater, because the Parallel City is facing, his damage is lowered by 20 from Parallel City, so Power Heater would technically do nothing, but he does have a lot of energy on the field, so it might be difficult for him. He is just going to N here. I don't have a problem with that. If you get something like a Stadium here, that could be annoying. As yeah, he is just going to retreat, and we should see a Steam Up here. I don't know why he would. Yeah, there's the energy retrieval, so at least Yveltal is going to get knocked out. Yeah, so Power Heater is going to do 30, which knocks us out. But we can respond with our... If our Yveltal break is not prized, that would be nice. I'm going to throw down the Eevee here, deciding exactly what I need. I think we are going to lose a Lysander and a DCE here in order to hopefully grab our Yveltal break, because we can pick up the knockout here and deal some serious damage to these benched Pokemon and put Shaman in range of our Umbreon GX. Our hand is going to go down to 0. Unfortunately, and there's nothing really we can do about that though. Yeah, I don't want to give up. Yeah. So we will Baleful Knight here. Hit that for some damage. We'll pick up a prize card. As he is going to respond here with a Volcanic Heat. Doing 110 damage. And just deciding what to respond with here. I'm going to throw out the Yveltal. That can live 1. If we do hit the Trainer Mail, supporter off of this would be wonderful. There we go. So our gamble pays off. We're going to evolve here into Umbreon GX. Attach the Fighting Fury Belt and Professor Sycamore. Unfortunately, we don't get an energy, which is a problem. But yeah, we got 6 dark energy in the discard. Man. Is our Super Rod? Yeah, and our Super Rod's already gone. So we do not have a lot of energy left. Not much I can do here, just because we didn't hit that energy. Need another DCE, or I mean, I could attempt to thin our hand down in Shaman. I think that's probably about the only thing that we are going to be able to do here. Let's see, what do we have? We do have a DC. We have 2 energy left in our deck, so I'll Float Stone this and Shaman here. We do hit the energy. And we'll Trainer Mail. I guess it doesn't really matter what I take, but I will take the Assault Vest. With only... Okay, I'm just deciding where to commit the energy here. I'm going to need to commit it down to this Umbreon. The reason being is because this is the way that we win. We take knockouts on stuff like Shaman here, which only has 20 HP left. That's 2 prizes, other 2 prizes that we can take. My opponent is going to have to retreat out into this Volcanion. I do see him knocking us out here. He is going to have to do a lot though. And we could come in with a big... I haven't seen a Fisherman. I assume he plays it. But we could come in with a big Dark Call GX. To just discard energy. As my opponent has to discard a ton of energy in order to pick up this knockout. And he's going to Sycamore here as well. I assume he's looking for the Fisherman for next turn. Just, but yeah, he is able to pick up the knockout here. Go down to 2 prizes. A Lysander will win it for him here. And because of that, I am going to have to end him out of that. So we are going to end my opponent out of whatever he caught there off the Sycamore. You do have the DCE. My opponent had to have gotten if my opponent has this Fisherman, then they win. If my opponent doesn't have the Fisherman, if my opponent has the Fisherman and I Dark Call GX, it doesn't matter because he can't attack anyway. So if my opponent doesn't have the Fisherman, then my best bet is to Shadow Bullet, pick up the knockout here, deal some damage, and yeah, so I'm just going to Shadow Bullet. I'm going to knock out the Shaman here. Take some prizes. We are probably going to lose this matchup. There is another energy, but I can just continuously end my opponent. They're going to Ultra Ball here for their last Shaman. Looking for that Fisherman, I assume, for the game. I assume it's in their deck. Trainer Mail. I assume they either know it's in their deck or because they wouldn't be searching for it, but they haven't found it yet. And the amount of time that this Trainer's Mail is taking is telling me that they don't have it yet. Because if they had it, then that's just game. Find the Max Elixir. I think next turn is going to Steam Up. I think that's a bad play. Do you have a Ranger? There we go. Ranger. And Volcanic Heat does 180. Someone forgot. Yeah, looks like my opponent measured it without the Parallel City. Which means that I will N, right? Because I need to keep cards in my hand. I need to keep cards in my deck. So I'm going to end my opponent down to 2. And now is the time that we Dark Call GX and discard these 2 energy. My opponent needs their Fisherman. They have 10 energy in the discard. Escape Rope. I can just throw out the Shaman. Max Elixir. They play 13 energy? Would they play 13 energy? Because I could just stall them out for a couple turns. He does hit the Max Elixir. He's going to Delinquent here, which will drop these 3 very important cards. So my opponent pulls off a big Delinquent, and there is nothing we can do. If they pull the energy, they pull their last energy here. Last Max Elixir, they don't play 13. Do they play 13? No, they don't. Okay. So it comes down to these next couple turns here. I think my opponent's just going to let me go here. Yeah, there's no way. I'm not Sycamoring. If my opponent doesn't play their 13th energy. No, I guess they got it. Well played. That their Fisherman that they finally found. They're going to Sycamore. Please tell me like their last energy's prized. What is it? Oh, the suspense is killing me. Do we win? Do we lose? All comes down to this one card. Yes! Victory! Oh wow, what an exciting game. Wow, that's pretty awesome. That was a very good match, I have to say, versus Volcanion. And we will get one more before we end today's video. And it looks like we are playing... Ooh, that would be... If this is Solgaleo-Lunala, that's going to be a fun deck to play against. Twin Mill 3. Alright, and yeah, fairly good start. Got active, energy, shaman, supporter. Ah, Solgaleo-Lunala, sweet. So we'll go up against a new deck here. Solgaleo-Lunala Talonflame. And we do get End. Unfortunately. This Yveltal is fairly useless this game, I do have to say. Yeah. Yveltal Break could be useful, but I really don't see it becoming useful. Umbreon GX, on the other hand, very useful. We can discard those special energies with Dark Call. I'm going to Parallel City my opponent here. I don't see any threat of my opponent sort of attacking me yet. So we can just end them here. Attach to the active. Trainer Mail. Need the Sycamore. We already have a Sycamore. I guess we'll grab a Float Stone for our Yveltal. Fighting Fury Belt doesn't matter too much in this matchup. The only reason because Solgaleo will one-shot us anyway. Hopefully I didn't end him into the Rare Candy Solgaleo. There's the Rare Candy. Does he have the Solgaleo Rainbow Energy turn 2 Soul Burst? We see the old Secret Rare Ultra Ball. And the golden for the Solgaleo. So we got turn 2 Solgaleo here. That's pretty sweet. And we see the Rainbow Energy, so they got it. They got the turn 2 Soul Burst GX. And they throw down the Silent Lab. And now they're going to Sycamore. So a wonderful turn for my opponent. Not so much for us. See the Cosmome come down. I assume we'll see a Soul Burst here. Yeah, that's what I would expect. If we had a Lysander here, that would be very nice. And if he loads this up with energy, we can smack it with a big Evil Ball. So we're going to see Rainbow Energies come out, Psychic Energies, all sorts of energies. He's spreading them out, which is a good play. Alright. So, Eevee doesn't have our ability here, so I think our best play is just to end. I don't want to lose that Delinquent. I don't want to lose 2 energy here. That DCE is fairly important. Hopefully we can get some more Pokemon down. We do get the Assault Vest, which is nice. That can go down here. We don't have a stadium, unfortunately. Evil Ball. That'll do a good amount of damage. Just deciding what I want to do here. It's very likely he Sunsteel Strikes next turn and knocks us out, so we are just going to bring that DCE back onto our Eevee. Yeah, so it does look like he will Sunsteel Strike here. You do have to discard all the energy, and if he Sycamores here again, that is going to get rid of a lot of stuff. I guess he, 2 Talonflames, not a bad Sycamore. And we do see him playing the Max Potion, so that's interesting. If we see a Lunala here, that would be very interesting. Yep, so there's another Lunala as well. I assume that's going to come down here, unless he has the rare candy. Yep, so he does have the rare candy. He's going to evolve this into Lunala. Throw down another Cosmog. Psychic Transfer. I assume onto the Lunala. Yeah, he wants to get all the energy away from these. So this thing has 150 HP left. Dark Call is going to be big here. We can discard a lot of energy. It's going to be difficult for my opponent to get it back. I don't see any special charges yet. What did my opponent play there? Wasn't sure. Did that energy get discarded? I guess he transferred off and then back onto this. And yeah, we're going to throw this down here. I have to Sycamore or N or whatever's in our discard pile. Really, we need an Ultra Ball. We need something, and we don't get it. We don't even get the stadium, so we can bump and Shaman. Yeah, so that's fairly bad, and our opponent just will have game next turn. I'm gonna have to throw down a Shaman, and this is terrible, but lose the DCE. This is the only way that we can continue to play this game. I assume Lunala's coming in and is just going to Lunar Fall, so using these Fighting Fury Belts will not matter. So we're just pulling real badly off of these ends. If we got something like an Umbreon GX there, we could Dark Call. I'm pretty sure I would use my GX attack there and just get rid of like 2 of these Rainbow Energies. If we found our Enhanced Hammer as well, we could clear the field of Rainbow Energies, which would be very hard for them to come back from. My opponent does have a lot of fancy cards here. We see VS Seeker, Ultra Ball, Sycamore, Yeah, so we are most likely, we're going to see that Lunar Fall GX here. Or, well, actually, no, they can't. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was my mistake for not putting down this Fighting Fury Belt onto the Shaman, because then we would have lived the Moongeist Beam. Yeah. He's going to move it back? I don't know what he's doing there. Yeah. I guess getting the Rainbow Energy off? Or is he going to... I don't know what he's doing. I guess he's just going to Moongeist Beam. I wanted to attach all the energy to Solgaleo. But yeah, this will knock us out. I misplayed by not putting the Fighting Fury Belt down. I forgot that he had already used his GX attack, of course. And yeah, so we have the Yveltal here. Not that that really means anything. We're going to Versus Seeker for N. Throw down the Fighting Fury Belt just so that we don't draw into it. We need something like Umbreon GX and an energy. We got the energy. Of course, we have not drawn into any search cards yet. We had that one Ultra Ball, but other than that. So we need an Ultra Ball here, which we do get, which is nice. So we will be able to do something. Not really sure what we're going to be able to do, but especially that Silent Lab just really hurting us, not being able to play down our Shamans for cards. But and we are going to Dark Call GX here, and we are going to discard this Rainbow Energy and that Rainbow Energy there. So, assuming my opponent plays Special Charge, I assume you would in this deck just based off of the large amount of Rainbow Energy you play. Yeah. But we see the N here. My opponent's going to end themselves to 2. Gives us a nice new hand, but yeah, I don't really see any way that we are going to be able to come away from this. Moongeist Beam is going to be reduced by a lot. Yeah, because we have the Assault Vest. So if we get something like... We'll probably be using that Lysander. So we'll throw... probably throw the Dark Energy and the Lysander, because we can reuse it with VS Seeker if we have to. Grab something like our Yveltal EX here. And we can Max Elixir onto that. Hopefully get that powered up, ready for a big Evil Ball to come in. And let's see, yeah, so we only have an N in the discard. I could Lysander something like the Solgaleo, but he's got Ultra Road, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll just N here. We'll end my opponent down to 2 more cards. And we'll Max Elixir again. It's looking a little better for us, but I still really don't see us coming away with... I don't want to... I guess, well, I guess it doesn't really matter if we Max Elixir again. Yeah, it doesn't hit anyway. I don't really want to put that Eevee down. That's just a free prize if he's able to Lysander it. This Yveltal has 130 HP, but we are going to Shadow Bullet here, and we are going to hit the Solgaleo. And this is weak to dark. So I could have retreated, Evil Balled, and got rid of all of his energy. So extremely bad plays by me. Yeah, I did not know. I do not have. I do not know these cards. I did not know that this was weak to Dark. I could have Evil Balled and gotten rid of all of his energy here, and could have put us in a much better place. But I did not realize that. This is only like, this is the second day that these cards are out. And he is going to be able to Sunsteel Strike here for the knockout. So he does pick up, yeah, I don't know what would have been if I was able to, yeah, Sunsteel Strike will knock us out. Yeah, 190, not enough. So he is able to pick up the knockout. I'm not sure what would have been if I did recognize that Lunala was weak to Dark. I retreated on an Evil Ball to pick up the KO. Yeah, I'm very sorry for that misplay. Yeah, it's just coming from me. The Psychic Pokemon, they're usually weak to Psychic. They're not weak to Dark. So that's not something that I'm normally used to, but I need to remember that now that Lunala GX is weak to Dark. So thank you guys very much for watching. I apologize that last game was so terrible and that I misplayed so bad and our draws were so bad, but I hope you saw the power of Turbo Dark Umbreon in the first match. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and stick around for more videos.